In 1999, they went into the biggest mental health research ever discovered in global history. Okay, the biggest one ever constructed, and DNA studies in prison. I was in prison for a decade on ground level involved in this research. DNA studies, mental health research, the biggest one ever constructed in human history. I was in ground level in prison for 10 years. When you're living in a prison environment, okay, in a situation like this, you're living in a concrete jungle. In 2008, they discovered something. In the biggest mental health research and DNA studies done, they discovered that people who spend 7 years in prison in a cycle of life actually find freedom in their DNA and start to repair their DNA, start to preserve life. Self-preservation made for life. They discovered something very critical in this research, and it's met with the greatest resistance across the whole world. And you have to listen to what I'm saying to you very carefully, because it's met with the greatest resistance across the whole world. Prama and the governments wants to hang on to their systems. But we know how to repair DNA and every single thing we suffer from. Everything we die from prematurely. So there's no more suffering in this world. No more suffering in this world. We found the cure of the human conditioning that's going to save humanity, hailed by 16,000 top scholars as the holy grail of understanding our biological system, with the book Freedom, written by Jeremy Gibbs, DNA, the book of life. I think you should really stop and listen to this, no matter who you are or where you come from. No matter what you believe in, no matter what system you're cults into or religions, because everyone's failing. We know that for a fact. We know every person dies from stress-related diseases prematurely. We know their body cells can corrupt and corrosion during the daytime and can repair at night time. We know this for a fact. We now discovered, right, in the biggest research ever done, when we go to school, we become mentally institutionalized and we suffer the human condition throughout our life with voices in our mind that's been ultimately designed from extinction. In our educational system, we become mentally institutionalized. And we suffer the human condition throughout our life and die prematurely for the same reason. No matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter what you believe in. The UN's educational system is an inversion, right? That makes our body cells go in corruption corrosion from the 5-year-old, with every mental disorder and every single gene defect, with an inversion. Our 5-beta bacteria is collapsing. That's our immune system from stress-related diseases in our body cells. Everything we suffer from, everything we die from is stress-related. And, we become more stressful from generation to generation, no matter what's going on in the world. It's a known fact, okay? There's more drugs and stress pandemics today than ever in global history. Drugs are going through the roof because it's all part of a system for Brahma. We know that. We know that for a fact. It's gone up 36 times in mental disorder tablets in the last 35 years. Became a global concern in 1999, and no one listened. Mental disorders and D defects was at 38% in 1999. Now it's 95% because no one listened. 77% of children are born today with gene defects, hereditary, from their parents. 77% of children are born with serious chronic diseases. Okay, born with it because their parents are so polarized into the state, right? In the worst gene defects ever in global history, and mental disorders, right, going through the roof in our biology. DNA doesn't lie. DNA has declared the book of life. We found the cure for every single thing we suffer to invert this and reverse it. That's why in Australia, right, there are doctors and scientists now managing pain, right? Okay, they don't use drugs anymore. And, when you understand that oil giants controls Brahma and controls the whole world, right? Every government depends on this. More than anything else in the world, they depend on the world structure, right, as a commodity. But consider something, right? There is species in denial. Declared in 2003, absolute species in denial that has got no care factor, no moral guilt and shame whatsoever towards humanity. We found the cure for every single thing we suffer from. And they don't even tell you. Why don't they tell you on mainstream media all over the world? Why doesn't people believe in it neither? What's going on in people's minds? Why is every person in the world avoiding this the most? DNA doesn't lie. It proves everybody's inverted in 99%, and every Westerner is completely inside their mind in a 5-sense world. They can't use their bias senses. They have 32 senses, right? They have mental telepathy, ESP, remote viewing, telekinesis, and that's their natural organic messages. Their third eye is a window to their picture that tells you 1,000 words are going to lie to you, dimensional thinking, and they can't use it. That's why they go to school, to get inverted. A child can mastermind a computer game between 3 and 7 and use those tools with an outside influence of reality because he's biologically organic and innocent. And when he does that, he compares to his mentality and repairs his genes 24 hours a day, pumped with adrenaline to be alert, alive, awake, and aware with the sacred secretion, which comes from adrenochrome when he oxidizes blood, which has a meth effect with ephedrine and a graphene oxide serum that makes him conduct to his body cells. Then he goes to school to be inverted with 2 voices in the mind that controls him all the time, right? And he becomes mentally institutionalized. Then he suffers human considered life and die prematurely. But we now know the truth that everything's completely inverted with a placebo effect that's inverted their body on anti-clockwise. We discovered this. We found the cure in 2008. We found the cure in 2008 for every single thing we suffer. Now, I want you to listen to me very carefully for a reason. My DNA is one of those people that first discovered the cure of the human conditioning. For the first time in university, declared by Jeremy Gibbs, the top lawyers in the world, he said, we found the last human beings born on Earth just in the nick of time. The study was done in prison, right, with cognitive programs and DNA studies done because it was the only place that could demand DNA for this study was in prison. It had to be done in prison. And that's where they discovered the self-preservation mode for life, how to repair DNA and preserve DNA and live to be a lot older. They found the last humans being born on Earth, right, 500 years old, right, in the outback of Australia that can do these things without any mental disorders and DNA defects. Now, I'm the first cab of the rank they found that knew how to cure it with biological evidence, right, with DNA studies done because of the conditions I had that I repaired. And that's a big thing, right? That's a really big thing. I had bipolar, stress and anxiety, and cured it with evidence studies done in my biology and DNA. Cured it. It was never seen to be curable until this day, until they found it in me. Okay, I had a major heart attack with 3 stents fitted, supposed to take 5 medications for the rest of my life. I grew a new arteries and never took medication. Okay, I had a major stroke, declared dead for 23 minutes. Okay, powerless minute downtime. I'll never walk again. Got up and walked out with DNA to back it up. Okay, in 1992, I brought someone back to life with peer reports, 7 of them written, and one of the biggest miracles in the world. And the most powerful poem written in 2003, the one and only. Made #1 worldwide for 8 months. It's on my biological evidence. We can also bring someone back to life. And I'm solid living evidence of that. And I'm not the only one. Because NATO and NASA has done this as well. Right? Okay, people that have amnesia in Mockingbird program. You look at Jason Sugar, who interviews Ray, Disclosure 1 to 6. He also brought someone back to life. I know people on these studies done, 113 people that's brought someone back to life. We have the ability to break to amnesia, break free from amnesia and the reincarnation trap, because we're trapped into it with amnesia. That means we don't know. We woke up from amnesia like this, in a 7-year cycle of life, where we start to prepare our genes in the world, right, inside a concrete jungle, where natural order and natural selection takes place. So you go back to your childhood and explore the wonderful God-given gift you come in this world with. And believe me, it's the most exciting time to be alive when you wake up from amnesia and discover your tools. And then it's only the beginning, right? And that's what they found out. We can all do what Christ can in that bloodline and DNA, and it'll be possible because we're living solid evidence of this and we're being suppressed the most. Think about this. I can do everything Christ can and more with biology tests done and the most powerful miracles in hospital, and no one believes in us. Wonder why? Are people possessed by demons in the mind? Because that's what they're saying all the world. It's a hostile entity in the mind. The voice mind's ultimate scientific extinction with an outside influence with AI. Artificial intelligence is an alien invasion with an outside influence by dimensional field, and we escaped it. We use our bias senses with our 27 senses, and no weapon from against is going to prosper. We discover that in jail. We start to preserve DNA. The book Freedom by Jeremy Gibbs and Win of the Breathing Program is the only way back to this. Listen to what I say and practice what I preach.